Okay, recording's going. We are on Offline Solution, a realistic, rational approach to starting and growing a real offline business. You notice those words real, rational, and real? Those are there on purpose because that's really the distinction that I'm drawing between this and a lot of other stuff that I see. And I'm not dissing anything else I see. I want to put everything into perspective on this one webinar tonight. There will be a replay, so if you got to leave or something like that, it's all good. I'm going to have that up and be emailing that out to everybody. Bruce, Bruce says, congrats on starting on time. I try to start on time, unless I'm having some sort of technical malfunction, which happened about 3 webinars ago. I started 15 minutes late, but that's a rarity for me. I try to get rolling right on the dot. Cool beans. So let's get the slideshow going. Okay. Let's try to get the slideshow going. Here we go. Okay. This is my promise to you for this webinar. Remember I told you on the, I think so, Mark. Remember I told you that you can keep your credit card nice and safe? Yes, you can keep your credit card nice and safe. Freeze it in a big block of ice and put it in the freezer so you don't use it so much. I actually know someone who does that. Me, I just don't have credit cards. Yes, Bruce. Bruce, thank you for reminding me of that. Guys, at the end of this, you're going to have a link where you can go get the slides, get some more stuff, and you will have all of this stuff available to you. This is what you're going to learn, okay? You're going to learn exactly what to do to make offline actually work for you. Now, at the end of this, I am briefly going to introduce my new coaching program, but God's honest truth, hand on a stack of Bibles about the credit card, you can't even buy that today. Okay, I'll explain to you why. Okay, not trying to be ridiculous. Hey, Brian, how's it going, buddy? Not trying to be ridiculous about that or anything. I'll explain the whole thing. And also at the end, you want to stay on to the end of the webinar. For one thing, I've got solid content all the way through. I welcome any and all questions, but got solid content all the way through. I'm going to show you a download link where you can download these slides and some more stuff that I'm telling you about during the webinar, so stay on to the end. Who am I and why you should consider listening to me? I don't talk about myself a lot. I'm just kind of a middle-aged Southern guy, and you know, when I grew up, we just didn't go around talking about ourselves a lot. So I thought I would tell you a very brief history about me. Not even a history, just a couple of little tidbits. I have a varied background. I mean, I've done tons of stuff, everything from building machinery to selling magazines, but my 2 main career things up until a few years ago was selling real estate, which I did for a decade, and then teaching mathematics. About 3 years ago, I decided to quit my job as a teacher and start my own offline business. Basically, one summer, I just couldn't deal with it. I taught, and I love a lot about teaching, which is kind of like what I'm trying to carry over into what I'm doing now. I joke and say I'm still a teacher. I just finally get paid a lot to do it. But one summer, I just couldn't deal with it. I was having a few health issues and stuff like that, and I just called up my assistant principal and I said, her name was Debbie, wonderful person. I said, Debbie, I just can't do it. I can't come back. And she said, well, I understand entirely. You know, it's a killer job. And hung up the phone, went in the living room, said, honey, I just quit my job. My wife started crying. I thought, holy crap, I've made a massive mistake. I wonder if I could call Debbie back and undo what I just did. And then my wife says, no, I'm not crying because I'm unhappy. I'm crying tears of joy. I've been waiting for you to do this for a long, long time. So I had, up until then, a lot of success with affiliate marketing. I've been an Amazon affiliate for years, and I was making really good part-time money doing that while I was teaching. Let's define that. That would be anywhere from a low of about $500 a month to a high of about $2,000 a month. And you know, when you're a teacher, policeman, fireman, you know, I mean, when you're doing those kinds of jobs, and not me. All the other teachers, policemen, firemen, all those folks, those people are like salt of the earth, right? But it's hard to get paid enough money, especially when you got a family, right? So I really needed that part-time income, and that was a blessing that I could figure out how to do that. And I did that for years. So basically, when I quit work, I had absolutely nothing to fall back on. I got a wife, I got 2 kids. We're a very traditional family. Daddy makes the money. My wife makes all the decisions. I wonder if she heard that. But anyway, seriously, I mean, it's, Daddy makes the money. My wife raises the kids. I got great kids. But I have to provide, and I had nothing to fall back on to speak of. I mean, I didn't have like months of money out in front of me or something like that. I had kind of had a game plan, but it was like a 5-minute game plan. I understood the internet through affiliate marketing, and from my 10 years selling, and quite frankly, from my 10 years of teaching mathematics, trying to help people understand something that's very complex, and also kind of trying to make it somewhat enjoyable. I understood how to sell and communicate, and I put those two together, and I was very successful at creating an offline business. I mean, it didn't happen automatically. I mean, and it was work, and that's what I want to talk to you about tonight. I want this to be real. Remember those words at the beginning, real? Within only a few months, I'd equaled my income as a teacher. Within about a year, I doubled it, and it's grown since then. About 2 years ago, and I think, again, this is the teacher in me, I decided I wanted to help other people have the same success that I had, because, I preach to my children that the world has changed. That old, and you guys have heard me say this before, that old paradigm of do well in school, keep your nose to the grindstone, go to a good college, get a career, go to work. I mean, that thing actually vanished 30 years ago, and it was just obliterated over the past 10 years. It's like I tell my son and daughter, I said, you must learn to kill it and bring it home yourself. If you want any security in life, you must learn to, hey Susie, you must learn to kill it and bring it home yourself. So that's kind of like what I'm all about, this aspect of my business, I call it the info marketing aspect of my business, is teaching you how to kill it and bring it home yourself, because that's where the security is. There is no security other than that. That's where the security is. There's security in God. That's a different thing. But I'm talking about security in this time-space continuum. So that's what led to today. Enough about me. I'm honestly not that interesting. I'm actually pretty boring. All I do is work. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Let's talk about you guys, because, you're here because of you, all right? And I want to help you cross what I call the abyss, to get from, gee, I wish this would work, to, hey, dog, that works pretty good. I mean, it could work better, but it's working. Okay, so let's figure out how to do that. I want you to tell me if the following scenario, behavior pattern, whatever you want to call it, sounds familiar. Okay, so just think to yourself, does this ring a bell? Mark, I pretty well guarantee you you're not boring. But anyway, Mark says, you think you're boring, wait till you hear about me. That's hilarious. Guys, I know Mark. He's not boring. So see if this rings a bell, guys. You have the goal, for whatever reason, of starting an offline business. Okay? You buy a WSO, an FSO, Forum Special Offer, same idea, course, some sort of training. Okay, so you think, hey, this is cool. I think I'll do this. What makes sense? Well, let's learn how to do it. So you buy some stuff, right? You go through it. You try to implement it. Then what happens? You tell me what happens at that point. Think, I want to do this. You buy some stuff. You get in there. You open it up. You read it. You listen to it. You get on the computer. You're going to make it happen. You get out in the real world. You're going to make it happen. What happens next? Put it in the chat. Yep, Dan, no follow-up, follow-through, no action. Dan, unfortunately, that happens a lot. I think we're going to talk about that. Google changes. Praise God. Yes, Google changes. You try it, it doesn't work, move on to something else. I wish you guys could see the chat here. It's just like totally blowing up. Getting stuck, discouraged, and you buy something else. It never works as advertised. You find a new shiny object. Freeze up from product overload. Been there, done that. I've got a, like my daughter says, I've got a whole closet full of t-shirts and never enough detail. Yeah, I like that one. Mike, I've done that more than once. Overwhelmed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brian says my audio is extremely muffled. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem or not. I'm honestly not sure what to do about it. I'm seeing if there's something on my headset that needs changing. Dennis says the sound is good. Okay, we'll just go with it. Could be your internet connection or just go to webinar. All of the above. Pete says WSO clients will pay 10 times more than they actually will. Yeah, cool. For about 98% of you, now I wrote this days ago, okay, but I already knew what you were going to say, right? Because it happened to me too. For about 98% of you, what happens is either confusion and no action. One of the first comments that somebody put in there was no action. Well, that no action is not a personal fault with you. It stems from your own confusion, okay? Or a flurry of activity and then frustration because it's just not working, is it? So what do you do next after this point? You try it or you don't try it, so you're confused. And then what happens? What's the next thing that happens at this point? Tell me. Dan says give up. Yeah, that could try something else. Quit. Yeah. More. That's three. I've got over 100 people on this call. Throw up. Felt like it. Yeah. Look for something else. Buy another WSO, Todd. Todd, yeah. Chuck it, move on to next something else, next shiny object. And this was my guess. About 98% of you iterate that same process. You buy another WSO, FSO course, whatever. You try to implement frustration. It's like you're on this giant hamster wheel, right? That's just running around, but the little hamster doesn't ever get anywhere. So let me ask you this. Is this behavior that I just described working for you? That's a slightly rhetorical question, but I want you to internalize that and think about it. And tell me, is that working for you? Todd says slowly. Yeah, good. I'm getting no's, some hell no's, no no's, and slowly. Any answer is cool. Any answer is cool. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to just, Dan, I love what you said. Learned a lot, but no money. We're going to talk all about that. Slowly, Harry says. Perfectionism problem. Yep. Digging a deeper grave. Learned a lot, but didn't implement. Yeah, sure. Too many parts missing from the purchases. Dennis is asking me, why am I going by Richard Cole and not Lee Cole? This is a new GoToWebinar account. I had one under Lee Cole. Richard's my first name, and I had to put it under a different name. So keep feeling I don't know what I don't know. I think I'm going to cover all of this in a positive way. Okay, my goal is to leave you thinking, oh, in other words, talking about you, I'm in your head. I want Todd and Pete and Dennis and all you guys, and I'm picking on you three, it's just the three names, and Susie, it's just the four names I'm seeing here. I want you to think, oh, I'm not the problem. I now know what the problem is, and now I can start actually moving toward making this really happen. That's what I want to happen tonight. See, I already knew the answers, all the answers. How did I know all the answers? Because I've been there and done that. I got a whole closet full of T-shirts. Dennis says, I've been ignoring emails from Richard Cole. Yeah, well, I don't know what to say about that. I'm probably going to tell you to unsubscribe from everybody's emails anyway, including mine. So just keep on ignoring that guy's emails anyway. He's just one of those info marketing guys, Dennis. Yes, Neil, implementation is far more complex and appears on the surface of the sales page, and we're going to talk about all that too. Thank you, Thomas. Remember when Einstein, I think this was Einstein, I wanted to look it up, I didn't look it up. Insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. See, we live in a rational universe. You know, I mean, there are natural laws that govern all this stuff. Yeah, thank you, Chris. Chris says that is Einstein. You know, I mean, you know, like Newton's laws of mechanics and stuff like that. So when you do A and B happens, then when you do A again, B usually happens, right? But in your heart, you want C to happen, but A is the only thing you know how to do, and B always happens. But you really want C to happen, and it's remarkably frustrating. So let's consider a different approach, okay? I want an approach that will actually work. Is that cool with you to get to something that will actually work? Would that be a good idea? Let me know, guys. I like lots of responsiveness because I like to know that your brain's engaged. I know your brain's engaged, but I like to know that it's engaged. Hey, Duncan says amen. Yeah. I want to destroy a few myths. I call these myths about offline marketing, okay? To really understand this, to really get down and turn this whole thing around so that it can work for you. Let's talk about what I call the myths of offline marketing. Here's my number one myth. Now, see if these ring a bell. It may not be exactly how you say them to yourself. I hope you have some aha moments. We're going to discuss this. First myth, there is a system or systems that work for everyone more or less. This is also akin to the I know something you don't myth. You know, the sales letters where you get the guru who knows something and they've made all this money and they're going to sell it to you for $12, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's one myth, that there is a system or systems that work for everyone more or less, okay? Two, everyone can create an offline business without learning or growing much personally. Now, I didn't say that everyone has to learn or grow personally. I'm saying that everyone could create an offline business without going through some personal growth. You can build a six-figure income in 60 days. I'm saying, I wish you could see the chat. It's hilarious. I'm loving this, guys. This is even better than I thought it would be. Offline is mainly about technological solutions to businesses' marketing problems. And business owners will be doing whatever they do, falling all over themselves, you know, passing out $100 bills. They're going to be falling all over themselves to pay you for whatever it is, right? Yeah. Let's demolish each of these myths. There's a system or systems which, when followed, lead, or I guess I should say leads everyone to approximately the same degree of success. And I've seen lots of comments kind of on both sides of that issue going through the chat. Let me tell you what I think. And look, this is not carved in stone. If you disagree with me, that's fine. That's cool. But I think that's false. And I'm going to tell you why I think that's false. Here's the deal. A lot of you come into offline through standard internet marketing, like I did, affiliate marketing, building AdSense sites. I mean, a lot of people kind of do this route. Not everybody, but a lot of people kind of do this route. You learn some about affiliate marketing, you learn a little bit about SEO, you learn some about AdSense or Amazon or whatever, and then you come across the idea of, instead of building an Amazon site that makes you, I'm just kind of, you know, exaggerating a little bit here, $7 a month, even though that's on autopilot, it's still just, you know, $80 a year or some $84 a year. Instead of that, you say, wow, I could take that same expertise and I could sell it to a business for thousands of dollars. I mean, at some point that light bulb goes off in your head somehow, all right? But what happens is a lot of people, and I kind of did this too, if this was a webinar, let me put it to you this way, if this was a webinar about AdSense, I have a personal friend who just kills it with AdSense, okay? And he is a master ninja black hat genius. He totally kills it with AdSense and Amazon too, by the way. Now, my buddy runs a coaching program. It's pretty expensive. And if you got in his coaching program and you did exactly what my buddy told you to, when my buddy told you to do it, you would have more or less the same results as he does. In other words, if somebody was willing to coach you or sell you a plan to build let's say an Amazon or an AdSense site, and it really worked for them, and they sold you all the steps. You did the keyword research right, you picked the right products, you built the site right, you did the right backlinking, you did the yada yada right and yada yada right. More or less, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in my little window in the chat: Dennis, Susie, Jim, Mark, and Mark. If you guys did this, and if you faithfully did what you were supposed to, your results are going to turn out to be somewhat close. Maybe somebody picked a little better, maybe Susie picked a little better niche than Jim did, so Susie's making a little more money this month than Jim does. But there's not going to be a wild difference in what happened if you faithfully follow those steps. Now that's I'm not talking about offline marketing. I'm talking about the rest of internet marketing. Let's see, there's a huge difference between offline and the rest of internet marketing, building AdSense sites, building Amazon sites, and all that stuff. There's a huge difference. There's a level of complexity that doesn't exist with AdSense and Amazon and stuff like that. And that level of complexity is the other person. So you build an AdSense site, you get it ranked, and a bunch of people see it, and then just statistics takes over. Statistically, some number of those people are going to click on your ad, and then Google's going to pop that money into your account, and when it gets over the threshold, they're going to pay you. I mean, it's all statistics. But if you're going to sell a business a mobile website, guess what? You've got to talk to a real person. Suddenly, you've got another human being there who's not one of 2,000 who hit your website this month. They're just one, right? And they may be kind of sort of interested, and they may not be kind of sort of interested, but you have a massive amount of explaining to do, teaching to do. It's called selling to do. And then that person has to, in their minds, say, yes, I understand. Yes, I want this. Yes, I'm willing to part with my money because I'm thinking the value I'm getting from my business is more than the money. See, you have a massive, the addition of that extra person, that decision maker that you must talk to before money starts flowing to you, adds a massive level of complexity that doesn't exist anywhere else in internet marketing that I know of. That right there is why I say the myth number one, that there's a system that will work for everybody, is false. I'm a born salesman. I really am. Okay, my dad sold aluminum siding, and I've told many of you this before. When I was 12 years old, my father made me learn how to sell. This would probably be criminal activity nowadays, but I mean, I was a Boy Scout, and we used to sell Christmas trees and light bulbs. And my dad, being a career salesperson, his son was, by God, going to sell more Christmas trees and more light bulbs than anybody on the planet. So not only did I have to dress up in my little Boy Scout uniform and walk around the nicer neighborhoods of Atlanta toting this giant box of light bulbs with me, but I had to write my own pitch. I had to write my own close, and I had to write my own objection handling statements. This is at 12 years old. Like I said, this would be criminal activity nowadays. But the thing is, I learned how to sell. Okay, so selling for me is, it's not easy, it's work, but it's kind of second nature. Not everybody learns that. Not everybody is exposed to that. Can everyone learn to sell? Yes, everyone can learn to sell. Does everyone just walk into this thing thinking, yeah, I pretty well got the sales thing down, I may have to tweak it a little bit? No, they don't. See, I got somebody, I'm not going to name a name, I got somebody who says right here, I'm a horrible salesperson. Well, to the person that just wrote that in there, you can learn. It's not that hard to learn. You can learn to be an excellent salesperson. But if you're not having the income out of this that you want, that right there is the thing that's preventing you because of what I'm saying here. Because in order to get money for doing this, you have to sell with a capital S. I'm not talking about twisting arms or anything like that. I'm talking about real, honest to goodness professional selling. You have to be able to do that. You have to explain. You have to learn how to figure out why the other person would want something. You got all that stuff to do. That's why I could take 5 people and give them the same system. I could take 5 people and give you the exact same steps, and I will have 5 wildly different experiences. These people would have 5 wildly different experiences. So that's why I say this myth is false, okay? Let's go on to the next one. Now look, guys, don't get discouraged as we go through the false stuff, please. I mean, please don't get discouraged. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to make you feel good. So if you're thinking, oh crap, it's over, don't think that, okay? It's not over. The truth will set you free, right? So that's what we're here today for. The truth will set you free. Myth number 2. I should say the truth will fill your bank account. Let's say it like that. Everyone can create an offline business without having to learn or grow personally. Well, I just destroyed that myth just talking about the sales thing, right? I mean, I had 2 people say, man, I can't sell for you know what. Well, that's a growth thing. So you've got, you now know that you have a thing to learn. Now, fortunately for you, it's not that hard to learn, and everyone can learn it, all right? I mean, it's not like I'm saying, well, everyone can play for the NBA. Not everyone can play for the NBA. You know, not everyone's a Dwight Howard. I actually know Dwight Howard personally, by the way, but not everyone's a Dwight Howard. Not everyone, I guess Dwight's close to 7 feet tall. Not everyone's close to 7 feet tall. Okay, I'm not. But that's not what I'm talking about. Everybody can learn to sell. Everybody can learn to make this thing work for them if you start focusing on the right things, and that's what tonight's webinar is about. But there's going to be, for some of you, some personal growth. Now, fortunately, if we figure out where the personal growth needs to be, the personal growth can happen fairly rapidly. Yes, Matthew, I am recording this. So I say this myth is false. If you understand business, okay, if you understand business, can sell, already get marketing, if you come from a marketing background, kind of like I did, okay, I mean, when I looked at my wife and said, hey, baby, I just quit work, you know, and when I got over the fact that I quit work and I was kind of walking around thinking, okay, I need to make some money, you know. Well, honestly, it wasn't that hard for me because I have a massive sales background, and I just basically, and I've told a few of y'all this, I basically started, so this is back when we had, when Google Places was a lot simpler than it is. So I basically started cold calling businesses, filling out their Google Places pages right, and making money that way, and it all worked out. But see, I walked into this having some skills that a lot of y'all don't have. But that's okay because they're very, very learnable. So for some people, you don't need much personal growth. But most people, I think you need some personal growth. By the way, this is a good thing, guys. Learning to sell and learning to communicate, growing in your confidence in yourself, that's good. This is good to be learning this stuff as you go through life. Myth number 3, you can build a $100,000 per year business in 60 days. I think that's false. Excuse me, I had to take a drink of water. Is there someone out there that did that? I'm positive that there's someone out there that did that, okay? But most folks can't do this. So why do we whip ourselves and think, oh, well, it's not working in 60 days, so it's not going to work? I mean, it's kind of like Duncan says it will take at least 75 days. That's hilarious. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if you've ever lifted weights or something and you know, I was never genetically going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, for one thing, I don't speak with an Austrian accent and I don't take steroids. But beyond that, you know, I mean, you know, when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time lifting weights and I got stronger, but I didn't look like Arnold. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just not, a lot of stuff is not going to happen like that. But can you build a $100,000 a year income? Yeah, you can build a $100,000 a year income. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But are you going to do it in 60 days? No. Now I want to talk about this some more. I forgot the steroids. Yes. I want to talk about this some more because this to me is, we're not going to talk about that, Harry. But this Harry's talking about some of Arnold's other extracurricular activities. But We talked about this on a webinar about a week ago or a few days ago or something like that. I mean, I want you to really think about this. That's why I said reality and realistic at the beginning when I introduced the first line. Let's say in the real world, you got a career, you got a job, you're making $40,000, $50,000 a year, which is an okay job. You put a husband and wife together doing that, they're making 80, 90, 100,000 a year. Family's comfortable, it's all good until somebody loses their job and it all goes to you know where. But if you want to go from that, that's why I'm talking about it, Mark. If you want to go from that to making $100,000 a year, okay, you want to make that leap, that's a qualitative leap. That's not going from 40 to 44. Going from 40 or 50 to 100, it's a whole new ballgame. What would a normal person have to do? Let's say you went to college, you had some job, you're making $50,000 a year. What would normal people are not people who are in the internet marketing world where you can make $100,000 extra in 60 days, okay? So normal people, when they think, you know, I'm kind of tired of kind of sort of being broke, you know, and not really having a nicer car and stuff like that, and my retirement's coming along, but it's not that great. I want to make 100K, okay, per year. What do you do? Well, you go back to school, 3 years. You have a massive ton of student debt. You work in school while you're working your job, and 3 years of on-the-job training, and you get into some sort of more lucrative career, and bam, you're making $100,000 a year. You'll never know it because you'll spend the next 10 years paying back your student loans, but you still, you know, you still got the income. Or you could go into sales. You could go into sales, okay? Not everybody in sales, but some people in sales, you get into like a corporate sales environment. I got a good friend who's the CEO of an engineering firm. I asked him the other day, I said, you know, your salespeople on average make about how much? And he said, they make on average somewhere between 90 and 100,000 a year. Okay, so you get them sales. You're still not going to do it in 60 days. That ain't happening. All right? You're looking maybe 2 or 3 years before you get into that. So 60 days, myth, destroyed, bam. Myth number 4, offline is mainly about technological solutions to businesses' problems. That's both true and false, and I want to explain that to you because I had some interesting comments about that a few minutes ago. That's true in that we offer a business and mobile website. We offer business search engine optimization. We offer a business SMS, you know, text message marketing. Those are all technical or technological solutions to business problems. But you can be the world's biggest fill-in-the-blank expert and still be broke. I bet you there are a lot of people on this call who know a lot more about SEO than I do, but I get paid a lot of money for SEO. Okay? And I can only be so-so at SEO. And I can outsell a lot of experts all day, every day. That's because I know how to sell. And I want to take this a little longer. I got another slide where I want to talk about this some more. Myth number 5, business owners are falling all over themselves to do stuff, to give you money. Suddenly I lost the chat because I've got this huge question here. Mark, I'll read that in a sec. By the way, guys, as usual, we're going to have big Q&A at the end, so if I miss something or something like that, or you ask something, or you got something cool you want to say, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, let me know at the end. Business owners don't fall all over themselves trying to give people money. They're not idiots. Their goal is to make money, not just blow it. Okay? So you don't survive in today's economy by falling all over yourself to just hand somebody money. That doesn't happen. So, myth, destroyed. So, now, how about this? You want me to pull the covers off of this and explain to you how you can, for real, no BS, actually start making this whole thing really work for you. Quit being frustrated, and let's start building a real business. Who wants me to continue and talk about that? The chat just lit up like a Christmas tree. This is great. I hope you all are having fun. I'm having a massive amount of fun. And I hope you're learning something, and I'm hoping that I'm getting your head pointed in the right direction so that you can start having some real success. Let's see what it really takes to get this business up and running and making a very nice income. In business terms, I don't really like to use the word failure because I am extremely sensitive to language in my life on a spiritual level, so I try to avoid that. But in business terms, your lack of consistent success, let's just call it that, basically boils down to two things. You don't have a solid marketing plan. I'm going to tell you what a solid marketing plan is, so I'm not going to leave you hanging. You don't have a solid marketing plan. And number two, even more importantly, you're not consistently executing your marketing plan. And I apparently can't type right there, but you know, that's it. That's the whole deal right there. Now just hold on to the thought, because you know, in your mind you're probably thinking, well, but you know, I bought this and that and yada yada. Go with me here, you know. You don't have a solid marketing plan, and you're not consistently executing your marketing plan. Of course, if you don't have one, it's hard to execute, right? Let's talk about how to build a solid marketing plan. Okay, it's going to be a little different for each one of you because you're all got different expertises, different likes, different things you want to sell. Some of you live in different places, like Chris lives in Paraguay. I mean, you just got different things. Everybody on this call can be very successful. So your marketing plan is going to be slightly different for all of you. But I want to talk about how to build a solid marketing plan. Guys, I hate to tell you this, but the business that we're in is actually brain dead simple. I didn't say it was easy. I said it was brain dead simple. To create a marketing plan, let's look at how this business is really structured. Here is a bare bones outline of what you need, okay? This is how simple this business actually is. You need something or some things to sell. You need a method to get clients with. You need a way to get paid, and you need a way to fulfill. Fulfill means doing the work. If I'm going to order these in level of difficulty, it's going to go like this to my mind. The most difficult is a method to get clients. A way to fulfill, something to sell. Now, something to sell and way to fulfill kind of sort of the same thing. Because kind of sort of if you're selling a mobile websites, then hopefully you've got a way to give somebody a mobile website when they buy it. And a way you get paid. These last two, something to sell and a way to get paid, those are the easy ones. Okay, so we're not going to talk about those. The top two are the ones worth talking about because this whole business, this whole entire business flows from these two things right here. This is it and all about it. A method to get clients and a way to fulfill. If you can just cut through all the nonsense and the noise and the WSOs and the systems and the Facebooks and all that stuff, this is what it all boils down to, a method to get clients and a way to fulfill. I got two people already telling me it makes sense. Does this make sense, guys? I'm nowhere near done. I'm just saying, let me take a little break and have some water. So let's start with the easier one. Number 4, which boils down to what you're going to sell and making it so that you can actually deliver the goods. Okay, now I want you to think about this. I had plenty of people tell me this in lots of different ways. If you sell SEO, quote unquote, but you're really worried about your skills, in other words, can you take Santa Fe Orthodontics? Can you take that and get a page on a dentist website where the domains may be 5 years old and it's about a PR2 or something like that? Can you take a page on that website and get a rank for that keyword? Can you do that? Yeah, thank you, Susie. Susie says, Susie, I'm going to quote that if you don't mind. Um, I find I get bogged down by worrying about fulfillment, so I don't do everything I need to get the clients. Well, that's my point. Some of you can, some of you can't, could, yada, yada. But when I'm saying that you need something to sell and you need a way to fulfill, you need a way to make sure that whatever you're selling you can do. Now, let's don't worry about the details. I want you to get your head out of the details, okay? Get your head way out of the details. I got more than one person tell me, yeah, I could do that, but it's going to take a while. Well, yeah, it's going to take a while. I'm not talking about how fast you can do it, and I'm not talking about whether you're going to tell the office that you're selling, that you're selling a service to, I can do it in 30 days, because that's crap. I'm talking about, can you do it? In other words, can you have a certain amount of time within which you're like 90% sure that you can probably get this done, so that when you're talking to someone, you have an aura, you have an aura of confidence about you. Yes, thank you, Anthony. Anthony's given me a little bit better way of saying this. You need to be sure that whatever you're selling, you can provide. Thank you so much. That's a better way of saying all of this. So, hey, Anthony, if you selling mobile website, well, I mean, is the builder that you have available, do you feel confident about it? If you're selling SMS marketing, which can get kind of like technical, I mean, exactly who's going to do what when, right? What you send, you dial in a telephone number, what's going to happen, how are we going to do that, yada, yada. Can you do that? Sell a Facebook ad service to like a real estate business. I'm going to run a bunch of Facebook ads in all the zip codes that you work in, and I'm going to get people to come over to your fan page, and I'm going to get you more business. Is that going to work? So you need to make sure, number one, that the thing or things that you're selling are actually going to work. Going to work means for a business that the mobile website is going to look sharp. It's not going to look like crap. That's what I'm saying. Okay, it doesn't have to. I mean, we can sit here and argue about details. I'm not. Again, get your head out of the details. It's not going to look like junk. It's not going to look like something built 4 years ago. Okay. The SMS is really going to work to get for the office to be able to start. They've got the new dental hygienist, and they want to start getting more people in for the dental hygienist. Okay. The SEO is really going to work within a realistic time frame. Given all of Google's weirdness and hiccups, I stand a fighting chance of getting this page on page 1 for a keyword that's actually going to affect your business in a positive way. Pete says, where does being able to prove and get results for clients come into this? Okay, Pete, it's more of an internal thing in your head. Okay, you must believe in your product. I mean, you have to be an evangelist for your product. Basically, you must believe that when I sell business a mobile website, I know that I'm doing them a massive favor, massive, compared to what they're paying me for, which is a lot. See, in my head, that's true. So in your head, the SEO, the video ranking, the video ranking, what does the video look like, ranking, all that stuff. You need to get all of that figured out so that you feel like the thing that you're selling is top notch, because you're a pro. Do you hear me? You're professionals. You're really good at this. In your head, I am really good at this. What I sell makes a vast difference. This is not just some stupid $12 report that I'm trying to follow along with. I'm a pro. I'm a pro business consultant. I'm out here making a massive difference in people's businesses. So that's one thing. So what you're selling, okay, well, let's break it down. A lot of y'all have heard me say that you need to take all the things that you're selling, you need to basically stage them. Now, I'm not going to talk about this a bunch because this is a little later on, but you need what I call a front-end product, a low-cost product. $200 to $1,000, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, something of that order, 700, 800, right in there somewhere. You need a thing to be the first thing to sell to a business. And that thing needs to be sharp. And when the business buys it and they get it up and running and it's working and it's doing, you need to set the stage for upselling. So, man, that mobile website's killer. I've had 5 people walk in my office and tell me how sharp that was. Thank you, Lee. That's very cool. Would you like to see the rest of the stuff that I can help you out with your business? Absolutely. Kathy says, as my dad, a top-notch salesman, says, if you can't sell yourself on the product, you can't sell the product. Praise God. That is the God's honest truth. If you can't sell yourself on the product, you can't sell the product. Well, okay, so some of you are just schlepping around thinking, well, I want to sell SEO, but then in your heart you say, well, I don't really know if I can do it. Okay, well, let's stop doing that. Let's stop with that. Let's in your mind, you figure out what you can sell. All you need is one thing to sell, by the way. Yeah, I know, Lee, I can't build $100,000 to $200,000 business out of selling one thing. I understand that. But it all starts with selling one thing. So let's get that one thing going, and then we can build from there. Okay? So your front-end product, something you feel good about, or something you feel that fairly soon you could feel really good about it, get good at it. Either you understand it, you've got a great outsourcer you can get to who can do it, that you could sell a business, and within a reasonable amount of time, a few days, you can deliver that bad boy to the business. And the business owner, if they have any sense at all, is going to say, wow, that looks great. And I'm seeing a bunch of people, mobile websites, mobile coupon marketing, I love it. Ranked videos, Lex says ranked videos, reputation management. Chris, that is a vast field. You probably want to break that down into something a little smaller, like a direct, getting more good feedback on directory listings or something like that. Kathy says lead generation with coupon. So I'm seeing all of y'all saying you've got lots of stuff, or a bunch of y'all are telling me what you got, Facebook apps, stuff you feel really good about. Now, if it's in the $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $7 range, you now have your front-end product. That's all you need to get going, okay? That's all you need to get going. Let's talk some more. And if you got it, you got a way to fulfill it, okay? That's either you doing it or somebody else doing it, but you know it can get done. Now, if you don't have a front-end product, I'm seeing lots of stuff come through the chat, guys. I'm not trying to ignore you. I think we're going to have some stuff that we need to get back to. So please don't think if I missed something that don't think Lee ignored me. Lee just missed something. Now, if you don't have a good front-end product, you need to get one, okay? And I named out a bunch of them. If you don't have a front-end product that you feel really good about, being able to professionally, on the level of selling something to a business, that you can professionally deliver, that it's going to look sharp, that it's going to do what it's supposed to, that it's going to impact the business positively. If you don't have that, you need to find one. And, Mark, you're hilarious. I love it when you're on webinars. If you don't have one, then let's get one, okay? And if you don't feel good about something, then let's either down here learn how to do it yourself. When you're first starting, you got to crawl before you can walk, right? Learn how to do it yourself, or find a specific outsourcer to do this for you. We've got to have this in place. So at this point in this webinar, we have a product to sell. You have a product to sell and a way to fulfill. Of those 4 points I mentioned, this was one of the 2 harder ones, but it's the least hard of the 2 harder ones. Now we need to go out there and start selling this stuff. We got something to sell. I got something I believe in. So let's go out there and start selling this stuff. Now, here's what you need in order to start selling your front-end product. Now, I keep saying front-end product, guys. Do not get hung up on what else am I going to sell, all that stuff. I'm trying to step you through it. Just go with me. You need a convincing example of what you're selling. So if you're selling mobile websites, you need a sharp mobile website. I think a bunch of y'all have heard me say this story of how my wife and daughter forced me to go to this hair salon because I used to get my hair cut at this $8 place, and it came out all cattywampus, like I would care. And they forced me to go to this hair salon that they were going to, and I was getting my hair washed, and that's weird for me anyway because I'm just a guy. So the owner walks up and she says, well, what do you do? And I'm like bent over backwards, my neck is broken, and the stranger's touching me, right? And so I pull out my phone, and I've got some examples of some mobile websites on my phone, and I said, I sell those. And she's sitting there looking at them, and she handed me my phone back. She said, when can you come talk to me? Bam. That was like, I forgot how much that was. There's a mobile website and a bunch of other stuff. $1,400, $1,500, just bam, Why did that happen? Because I had a convincing example of what I'm selling. Now, don't make what I just said more complex than it is. I'm just saying that you need an example to show people. If you're doing video, I saw some people talking about video ranking. If you're doing video ranking, you've got to have a video ranked. Okay, and it needs to be ranked for something that's real. San Francisco orthodontics probably would be pretty hard to rank for. So let's go to some other place. Santa Fe orthodontics, probably a little easier to rank for, but you got to have that available. If you do an SEO, you need to be able to point to a website. You need to be able to sit down with somebody or get on Skype with somebody and screen share, or just say, or just on the phone say, hey, Pete, ask me that one a little later. Or get on the phone and say, hey, get on Google, type this in, blah, blah, blah. And if you're selling SEO, you need to be able to say, okay, now I want you to type in, or you can screen share, you're typing in Santa Fe orthodontist, hit that, bam, right down here, number 4, 5, 6, 7, I ranked that. That's actually my example website because I don't share my clients' stuff with other clients because generally I sign NDAs with clients, which is true. But that's my example site. I ranked that. Here it is on page 1. This is real. I can do it. Video. Here's a video on page 1. This is real. I can do it. Mobile website. Bam. Mobile website. I can do it. SMS marketing, a little different, but you just walk the person through interacting with some text messaging thing. And they're looking at their phones and, whoa, that is cool. When can you help me set this up for what I need? So you need a convincing example. It needs to look good. It needs to work. You also need ancillary materials. You need other stuff because you're going to build a sales funnel. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about that a little later. You need other stuff to show businesses while they're in the process of learning about mobile marketing, learning to trust you about video marketing, learning all that stuff. You need stuff to send them and to show them. So you need that stuff. And here's the biggie. The biggie. I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at this thing. It's like the massive elephant that nobody talks about. A sales process. You need a cut in stone, never varies. I always do it this way because it works sales process. So that you're not constantly scratching your head or scratching something else and thinking, well, what should I do next? Let's talk about the biggie, the sales process. It's, again, simple, but not easy. Digging a massive hole in your front yard is very simple. This thing's a shovel. Take that shovel apart, point it on the ground, stand on it. Makes a little indentation. Use it like a lever, pull that up, throw that dirt somewhere. Do that a bunch. You now have a hole. But I mean, you're covered in dirt. You're sweating like a stuck pig. It's simple, but it's not easy. I hate to tell you this, guys. What you're embarked upon is simple, but not easy. Okay, if you walk away from anything from this webinar, it's simple but not easy. The truth will set you free. The sales process, it's always like this. It does not vary from this. You got to target the right prospects. In other words, you have to, yeah, Mark says kind of like being married. I'm going to have to think about that one. You got to target the right prospects. Yeah, Gene, absolutely. You got to hopefully preach to the choir. I mean, you don't want to try to sell $2,000 a month anything to a guy with a crummy looking truck who's broke. That makes no sense. So let's make our lives easier by targeting the right prospects from the get-go. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm not leaving you hanging with anything. You have to have an initial contact, the first contact between you and them. We're going to talk about what that'll be. You need a follow-up sequence. Did a whole webinar, I don't know, yesterday, day before, because I've been on this total roll with this thing. Okay, and I'm like an evangelist for let's get real about this and let's start making some real money. You need a follow-up sequence. That's what you needed that other material for before. You need a sales presentation. Do you guys know what to do when you're actually sitting down in front of a prospect and you have and now it's time to talk turkey? Do you have the steps outlined in your head? I've got them in my head. I write them down for you. I do the same thing all the time. Andy, you're good, buddy. I'm recording this and it will be up as rapidly as possible, which is a few hours because I have to change the format. You bet. And look, guys, if you miss something and you're unclear about something, I'm here to help. Okay, so email me. Email doesn't work that great. Get hold of me as best you can. Okay, I get massive emails. Facebook's better. Sales presentation. Susie, Susie's saying, when will this be posted? Susie, I think I probably got another hour to talk. I really do. I'm trying to make this as short as possible, but I'm trying to tell you the whole story for once. After that, it takes about an hour or two to download to my computer. It takes about an hour to reformat it, and it doesn't take that long for me to load it up to YouTube or my Amazon server. So let's say middle of tomorrow morning, and I will email everybody on my list and tell you it's there. Okay. And Susie, I know you're my friend on Facebook, so hit me up and say, Lee, is it there? The sales presentation. They're always the same. All sales presentations are the same, all of them. I don't care if you're selling airplanes or if you're selling shoes. They're all the same. You need to know how to do those. The close. How do you close? How do you, it's cool, Scott. Scott says you got to go to bed. I understand, but it's cool. Recording, everything already said. How do you close? How do you pop the question? How do you get the person to actually do something? Well, it all happens with the stuff that led up to this, but how do you say, okay, now it's time to actually pay me? How do you do that? Okay? Thank you, Andy. Now, and after this, after we do that, after we get to the close, which means that there was agreement, I'm getting paid, all that stuff, we go into fulfillment, which we already discussed. This is the engine, guys. This is the engine. Okay, I was driving around thinking today, a Bentley, I think, is like $120,000 car. Looks slick. I mean, Bentleys are beautiful. I saw one in a mall. I actually sat in them. I'm not sure if I was supposed to, but I did. It was really pretty. And I'm thinking, you could have the Bentley, but what if it didn't have an engine? You know, and you could have a 10-year-old Honda Civic, and it's got an engine. So, you know, who's better off, right? What we're talking about right here is the engine. This is the engine right here. This is the engine. But this all needs to be in place to make this thing happen. Now, look, is anybody feeling overwhelmed yet? I mean, honest, just tell me the truth. Brian's not overwhelmed. Well, that's because Brian's actually a salesperson. Cool. No, I'm getting a lot of no's on overwhelming. I was hoping that you would say no, but I was scared that you would say yes, because I am throwing a ton of stuff at you guys. I'm not throwing it. I've been thinking through this for quite some time. But cool. I'm glad you're not overwhelmed by this. How to target the right businesses? Well, do they need what you're selling? You do not need to be pitching mobile websites to people that, A, do not have a regular website. That makes no sense. I mean, my God, it's 2013. If you hadn't figured out that you need a real website, just a website on the internet in 2013, it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's just that you're not in my universe. Okay? I mean, we just can't talk. We're speaking two different languages. I don't need to educate you about that. Well, of all the businesses that have websites, if they've already got a mobile website or even a responsive website, you don't need to be pitching a mobile website to. Sure, I know there's an issue about responsive websites. They sometimes look weird and they're hard to read. But those people think they have a mobile website. Okay, so you need to preach to the choir. Okay, you need to preach to the choir. So do they need what you're selling? Do they have the cash to buy it? That's a big one. That's a big one. If you're going to spend a lot of time talking to a lot of broke businesses, they don't have the cash to pay you. In real estate, they call it ready, willing, and able. And we're talking about the willing and able part of the ready, willing, and able trio. Willing. Willing means, yeah, I'm with you. I'm understanding. I've been thinking about text message marketing because my buddy that runs a restaurant in Florida told me how cool that's working for them. For my restaurant in Santa Fe, I would like that. I don't quite understand it, but I'm willing to hear what you're saying. Able. Yes, I have cash that I'm already spending on advertising. It's probably not doing jack for me. So I'm more than happy to take some of that cash and send that your way. And the ready part just falls out naturally from all this other stuff. Take mobile websites. Pete says in the UK they call it MAN, money, authority, and need. Absolutely, absolutely. Do they need one? Like I said, target businesses who don't have either a mobile site or responsive theme. Can they pay? Only target businesses that are currently paying for advertising online in some fashion. They're doing something somewhere. It's obvious that they're paying money for something somewhere. They're buying Facebook ads. They're buying Google ads. They're paying for better placement in Yellow Pages. There's a whole Yellow Pages has a YouTube channel. They've got a YouTube video that they paid out the yin yang to have made about their business, and it's got 4 views. But they had money to pay for it, right? Right? Yeah, advertising on, Miriam says advertising on TV. I mean, there's evidence that they've got cash. Or if you're like in the face-to-face thing and you drive by their store, if it's a retail store, you meet them at their office, they just look like they got some money. So I'm just saying you need to be aware of all this stuff. Can you get it perfect? No, you can't get it perfect. Video ranking. Like I said, do they have videos online already that are working for them? Well, yeah, like the Yellow Pages YouTube channel. Or maybe they're not working for you. I can't see over in this side because I'm blocked by a little window for GoToWebinar, so I'm not sure what that word is over here. But anyway. Did they spend money on video stuff already? Perfect candidates for video ranking. If they spent money for video stuff already, and they got 4 views on a $2,500 video, yeah, that's the kind of thing we're looking at. Now, initial contact, how to target businesses. There's a massive number of ways, and people come out with all kinds of technological gins and frenzens about how to do all this stuff, and it's all going to work and make you $100,000 in 60 days. And I'm just naming a bunch of them. I'm going to cut to the chase in the next slide. Direct mail, Facebook ads, cold calling, in-person sales calls, email marketing, with and without video, lead gen telephone software that dials everybody and his brother and then calls you back, you know, when somebody presses 5 to hear more, yada, yada, all that stuff. The list goes on and on and on. If you're new or newish, I would define as less than 20 sales under your belt, I would focus on one of the following: direct mail, cold calling, in-person sales call, email marketing with or without video. Okay? I mean, these all have their pluses and minuses. But here's the deal. Pick one. And to make that real clear, I wrote down as in not 2 or more. You need to pick one of those. You need to have just one method. I'm looking at some names on the chat here. Pete, Miriam, and Sue. Sue and Miriam and Pete need just one method in their marketing plan. Just one. If you get two, then you get so totally confused. You cannot manage what you don't measure. We're going to talk about that. I took 2 out, Sue, because that one didn't make the grade for the newbies. You can't manage what you don't measure. Thank you, Anthony. Anthony liked the as in not 2 or more. Well, I'm a little bit of a smart ass, so, you know, I couldn't help it, all right? Gene, save that for the Q&A. I want to talk about that, but I don't want to stop right now and talk about that. That's a fabulous question, but I want to give it some airtime. Let's save that for the Q&A. So, pick one. Pick one. Okay? We're going to talk all about that, Tom. Use that one method. All those methods that I showed you work, every one of them, they have pluses and minuses. There is no perfect. Use that one method of approach until you have at least 10 sales. 10, not 1. Not until you kind of sort of, gee, like on day 3, does this ring a bell? On day 2 or day 3? I wonder if this works. Maybe I should go back to the warrior form. See if somebody else has a better way of doing this. This is on day 2. It don't work that way. So you need one method until you have 10 sales. Brian, I'm just being nice about day 2. And once you get 10 sales, those 4 methods I showed you, they don't all work the same way and they don't all have the same efficiency. But those 4 methods, all 4 work because I've done them. Yes, Travis. Those all 4 work because I've done them. You can, once you get 10 sales, and this may take you a while to get 10 sales, then you either tweak what you've got or you add another method in. And I think really, like if I was your sales manager, which I kind of in my brain kind of sort of am, I would tweak what I have. You know, you don't want to be messing with the marketing plan very much. If it's working realistically, then why change? Scott wanted to see the 4 again. Direct mail, cold calling, in-person calling. So if you live in a big city, hang on, guys. I don't know how to go backwards. That's how retarded I am when it comes to this. Let's talk about these. Direct mail, cold calling, in-person sales. So if you live in a place where you got a bunch of businesses, in-person's fine. Oh, Backspace does that. See, I was scared I'm scared if I hit something that it'll blow up the whole presentation, you know? And email marketing with or without video. Direct mail works. Again, you got to target the right businesses. Direct mail works. Cold calling works like gangbusters, okay? Now, this is the initial contact. Don't think I do this one thing and then everybody falls all over themselves to give me money. We got over that, right? This is the initial contact. Okay, this is like on the old movies when, you know, the one guy gets in the plane and the other guy pulls the prop through, right? Everybody keeps asking, we're number 2. Facebook ads. I thought that was, I haven't done a lot of that personally, Joseph, and I don't talk about stuff that I don't know works really well. So I think that might work. I've done a little bit of it, mainly for clients. I've used all 4 of these to get business for my offline business, and I know they all 4 work. And I know the pluses and minuses and the ins and outs and the nuances of all 4 of them. Okay? And if you have questions about these 4, let's save that till a little later because I got more to come. GC says cold calling does not work. GC, respectfully have to disagree with you. I built 2 6-figure businesses cold calling. You're probably talking to the wrong people and you probably don't know how to do it. Okay? I mean, it doesn't work if you don't know how to do it. There is a way to do it that works like a scalded dog. But it works really, really well. Now, let's see if I can get this thing going again. Well, Jay, yeah, that what you just said, email plus follow-up call, that gets into the follow-up part. So you need to, in your marketing plan, I'm talking about how to build a marketing plan. The decisions you have to make in your marketing plan, you need to say, I'm using direct mail, end of conversation. I'm cold calling, end of conversation. I am doing yada, yada, end of conversation. You bet, Doug. Once you get to 10 sales, 10. 1 is not enough, 10. Because 10, really, the numbers start to even out and you start to be able to manage by measuring. Then you tweak. I'm probably looking at this and thinking, I wish that I hadn't add another method. I should have said just tweak. Okay? So at this point, we've chosen a front-end product. We've chosen a method for prospecting, an initial method, right? And if we will go back to what I was talking about, the whole sales process, this initial contact has to be followed up with at least a 7-step follow-up sequence. That is proven in marketing study after marketing study after marketing study. I was on a webinar that some of you were on a few days ago, and we talked all about follow-up. So, direct mail letter, call them, see if they got it. Did you read it? Well, what'd you think about it? Okay, cool. When can you read it? Well, you think you read by Monday? Cool. Send them something else. Handwritten note. Great to talk with you today. Give a week for the handwritten note to get there because it's first-class mail. Three days in the United States, first-class mail. Call them up. Did you get that? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so build a follow-up sequence. And your sales naturally fall out of the follow-up sequence. So we've chosen a front-end product. We've chosen a method for prospecting and selling. At this point, we need to talk about a huge issue with virtually everybody, with newbie to somewhat experienced offliners. This is a huge issue. This is the thing. If all those other little pitfalls don't get you, this is the one that generally gets people. Realistic expectations. Now, I'm not saying realistic expectations in other words, and saying that you can't make a certain amount of money doing this stuff. You can make really good money doing this stuff. I'm talking about in terms of how long it takes to do that. Yes, Todd says 100K in 60 days, like that. It's the God's honest truth about this business. All that tech stuff and that cool internet stuff that you and I both buy because we're fascinated by it and learn about it. We've got this weird thing with Facebook and YouTube, and it's going to do this and that, and it's going to rank better and all that stuff. You know what? Hand on a stack of Bibles, it's slightly better than worthless, and I'm going to prove that to you. I can hire an outsourcer in the Philippines for $600 a month who has writing skills, very good SEO skills, probably some WordPress skills, maybe a little PHP. Excuse me. Well, look, if I can hire that level of expertise for $600 a month, that's $7,200 a year. In a free market, I could actually take an intelligent Filipino, and I could take all that crap that you and I buy, and I could send it to them, and I'd say, read that. Educate yourself. Get in this group where you're learning more about how SEO happens now. Educate yourself. I'll pay you for 10 hours a week to just get in there and learn. If that costs $600 a month, which is about what that costs to get that intelligent person, that's $7,200. Excuse me, $600 a month. That's $7,200 a year. I can't live off $7,200 in a month. In a free market, we have just defined what this knowledge is worth. I hope this hit you between the eyes like a 2x4. All this stuff that, you know, and I went through this personally, all this stuff that I thought was so cool, and I've got this, and I know this, and I can do this, and I do all this stuff. It ain't worth but about $7,000 for a year. For like 40 hours a week for a year, $7,000, that's how much it's worth. It's slightly more than worthless. No, Mark, you cannot come live with me. You and I would probably end up being like the best of friends. Because I think we're so much alike that that's hilarious. You guys got to understand, Mark and I go back. So yeah, I'm saying, guys, I'm saying. Brian says, ouch, that's some tough love. Yeah, that's tough love, baby. I can't live off $7,000 a month. I can't. I get nervous if I make that much money. If I make that little, I just get nervous. I can't do the stuff I like to do. But that's how much that's worth per year. So it's like that old commercial, if you're old enough to remember the old Wendy's commercial with the old lady in it who sat around and said, where's the beef? You know, like that. I mean, where's the beef? What's the difference? But Lee's saying all this stuff that's so cool in a free market is worth about $7 grand a year, but we want to make $100 grand a year, or 150 grand a year, or 200 grand a year, all of which is available to you. What's the difference? Somebody tell me the difference between those two, because I got one thing on one end of the spectrum that you thought was going to get you the 100K, and Lee's telling you it's going to get you about 7K in a free market. But we want to get up to the 100K. So what's the difference? There's a massive issue here. Do you guys understand that there's a massive issue going on here? If I get a Filipino, pay them $600 to do nothing but sit around for 40 hours a week and read all this SEO stuff, and then they are SEO geniuses, they're going to know way more than Lee Cole does, because Lee Cole doesn't have 40 hours a week to do all this, read all this SEO stuff. Here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. The money is made because you know how to sell. Thank you, John. Thank you. John just said it is the difference in sales process. Here's the deal. What makes the 100K is you know how to sell to get other people to pay you to provide the service, or to provide, or to use that knowledge to provide the service. The knowledge isn't worth that much. The knowledge is worth about $7,000 a year. The ability to sell the service that knowledge creates, provides, whatever, the ability to sell that, that's worth, well, 100 minus 7 is $93,000 a year. That's the difference. I'm showing you what makes a $100,000 a year income, because what you thought made a $100,000 a year income makes a $7,000 a year income, because I can go hire in the Philippines for $7,000. Does this make sense to you guys? I'm nowhere near done. Let me know if this sunk in. I got one person saying yes. Sinking. Yeah, Todd, it's like, yes, thank you, Todd, for saying sinking. Because, yeah, I mean, this is a big thing. This at some point in the next day or two should be, Anthony says it's like a trumpet blaring, like a shotgun. But if you're not quite digesting it, you know, it will happen. Okay. Well, let's, I can't repeat that, Dan, but it's hilarious. Let's keep going. Pete, fabulous question. I'm kind of on a roll here. I want you to bring that up a little later. John, I don't mind doing that. John says I ought to post this on YouTube private, let you download it. Yep. Lex says it sunk in. So how's the extra 93K per year added? Because Lex, you know how to sell. That's how. Yeah, the slides at the end. I'm giving you a link. You can go there and get the slides. The sales knowledge, the sales skill, which everyone on here can learn. Don't think this is some kind of like thing you can't learn. That's completely wrong. Everyone on the planet can learn how to sell. As a matter of fact, honestly, you already do know how to sell because you're a human being. You just don't understand that yet. But understanding how to take that natural human thing and do it in a business environment, which is really not that hard to be taught how to do, is the $93,000 right there. Let's move on. So you know everything about everything, and if you can't sell a product or service based on that knowledge, you're toast or you're broke. Yes, Kathy. Truth about sales, you've heard me say this. It's very simple. It is really very simple. It's hard work. It just is. And why shouldn't it be? My daddy used to say if getting rich was easy, everybody would be rich. Well, what does that mean? That means that, well, okay, well, if I want to get rich or if I want to provide a good income for my family, then maybe I need to figure out how to do that. Maybe I need to start working real hard. Now, I know you guys are workers because I see a lot of the same names on all the webinars, and I know you're working at it. So don't think that I'm calling you lazy. I'm not at all. This is not what this is about. I'm just saying that you're shooting the gun in the wrong direction. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Here's the good news. Now, I kind of like giving you a massive reality body block. All right, or massive reality body check, or whatever you call that. I'm going to give you some good news. Yes, Michael says to shoot the gun, you have to pull the trigger, but to hit the target, you got to be pointed at the target. Yes. Here's the good news. So I kind of like said, let's lift the cover off. Let's open the hood of the Bentley, and holy crap, there's no engine there. Let's get some good news going on here. The good news is done right. This is great news. Done right, you really don't have to have that many clients to make a killer income doing this stuff. Let me explain to you how this can happen. Let's say you make 10 front-end sales, and let's say those are like $400 sales. Okay, so 10 times 400 is $4 grand. Now, in my book, $4 grand is worth making. That is not chump change. That's money worth making. Okay. Now, suppose one of them turns into a high-ticket recurring sale. I've heard a bunch of you say stuff like rep management. Rep management's a really good opportunity right now for the high-ticket recurring stuff because it takes a while to get the rep management going. You have to monitor it. I mean, it's like fighting a wildfire that just won't quit, right? So you make 10 front-end sales, $4,000. One of those turns into $2,000. One of the 10 is going to end up paying you $2,000 monthly for like a whole rep management package or a whole SEO package or whatever your upsell is. This next thing should get you very, very excited and should make you think, thank you. There was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Need you go through these figures with me. So if you make 50 sales, that's just 50 sales, guys. 50 sales. You'll have 5 businesses paying you $2,000 per month each. These numbers are realistic. Now, 5 businesses paying you $2,000 a month each is $10,000 a month recurring. That's $120,000 a year income recurring. That's the kind of money we want. And I haven't even counted all those front-end sales. So you're looking right here, what I just described. Out of 50 sales, you're looking at creating a $150,000 a year business, a lot of which is on autopilot. But see, here's the deal. This isn't going to happen overnight. And we talked about this. We talked about why should this happen overnight. Again, making $150,000 a year was so easy, everybody would be doing it. We know that's not true. But when you really think about it, if you got all of that stuff in place that I'm talking about, you had the front-end product that you really believed in, that you could deliver, and it was really good looking. And you had, well, yeah, GC, this is taking a while. It's just going to take what it takes. You had the, thank you though. You had the front-end product that was really good looking, and you had an upsell that was a recurring upsell. You sell 50 of those front-end products, and you get 1 out of 10 of those to become that recurring upsell. You are now in the kind of money you want to. And that's not going to happen in 60 days, but it's not going to take forever for that to happen. And you're going to be making money. You're going to be making more and more money all along. So that's the good news. And that's really the way this business works when you do it realistically. Okay, so here's my big question to you. Do you guys realistically want to create the sort of business for yourselves? Be ready to quit pretending, quit picking up shiny objects, and quit, I don't like that word failing. I'm going to take that out and say quit not having the success that you want. Now, this is a no sales webinar, guys. You can take exactly what I told you. You're going to have the slides at the end. You're going to have the whole webinar. I'll upload it to YouTube so that you can download it from there. That's cool with me. I want you to look at it. This is a no sales webinar, though. I mean, you can take everything I told you, you can pick it apart, and you can make it happen by working at it, and you can create yourself without any help from me or anybody else. You can create the kind of business we're talking about. What you need to do that is you need to unplug from everything. You need to have realistic expectations. You need to have one front-end product and one method of doing your prospecting. You need to learn a little bit more about how to sell and structure sales presentation. If you get those things in order, and if you start talking to a lot of businesses, you will create the business that you want to. It's a given that it will happen. Now, I didn't lie about it being a no-sales webinar. This is a no-sales webinar. I don't have a buy button within 20 miles of here. You can't buy anything from me today. I do want to take a second and tell you about my upcoming coaching arrangement, which you can't buy from me today. Yeah, I got a replay for you. It's called Offline Solution. It's going to take me about 5 minutes to tell you about it. And then I'm going to give you a link where you can download all this stuff. Okay. Offline Solution, basically, you're going to be working with me, some one-on-one, some group, because some stuff I need to just tell everybody, but then everybody's a little different. It's a coaching arrangement. There's going to be some one-on-one. I'm not taking very many students. I don't want very many students because I want everybody to succeed, and if I take too many students, then I don't have the time to put into it, okay? Be working with you one-on-one to create a real business. Now, I just told you what a real business looks like, so the thing that we would be doing is going to be implementing the webinar that I just told you about, because I built 2 six-figure businesses, one in real estate, one in offline, They're both, I mean, when you just pull the details out of them, they're both the same. All sales businesses are the same. And what I'm going to be doing with people who take me up on this is I'm going to be working with you to create the same thing realistically for you. This is going to be tailored to you as an individual. I got some people on here who can actually sell. I know you. I know that you have sales skills. I got other people on here that, quite frankly, I know you can't sell. Some people need more sales training than others. Some people need more training about consistency than others. Okay, so this is tailored to you. Expectations. Although individually tailored, here's what I think from the outside most of you need. See if you agree with me. You don't have to. It's cool. This is what I think you need. Number one, I think you need a business assessment. In other words, I'm going to be talking to and comparing you to the webinar that I just gave you, because that's the pattern for success in my head. I've proven twice that it works. I've actually coached a few people in informal arrangements, and it works for them. We're going to figure out where you are, figure out what your front-end product is, make sure that you have a method to sell it, make sure that you have a method to prospect, that you know how to do it. If you don't know how to sell, I can straighten you out about how to sell, make sure you understand how to give a sales presentation, make sure you understand how to close, and make sure you know how to fulfill. Managing expectations. This is creating a marketing plan based on hours spent and money available. Hours per week spent and money available per month to spend on stuff like direct mail. You can't manage what you don't measure. And when I mean hours spent, I mean to the day. Okay? So we're going to sit down, we're going to figure out how Tom, I'm just picking your name because they're looking at your name, Tom. Okay, I'm not talking about you personally. I'm just using that name. We're going to figure out how many hours per week Tom has to spend and when those hours are. Okay, we're going to quit screwing around about woulda, coulda, shoulda, and all that stuff, and all the stuff that we're going to just drop all that crap. We're going to figure out where those hours are. Monday, 5 to 6, 5 to 7. Tuesday, you're generally off from work, so we're going to do a bunch of stuff on Tuesday. We're going to do a bunch of whatever needs to happen in terms of actually talking to businesses on Tuesday, Saturday. You're going to do research, that kind of thing. We're going to get it all figured out totally. And then you're going to do it. I am not a nice boss. I am completely ruthless. Think of me like the old crusty football coach that you might have had at one time. That's me. So we're going to get it all figured out, and we're going to monitor what you do. Okay, so we're going to have monitoring sessions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you spend that? You said you had $200 a month. That's $50 a week. We're spending $50 a week on direct mail. Did you spend it? We're going to create the marketing plan for you, and then we're going to tweak the marketing plan to make it better. Because, honest to God, your problem is you don't have a marketing plan and you're not consistently executing the marketing plan, because it is about executing the marketing plan, guys. Executing the marketing plan, guys, is about as fun sometimes as digging a big trench. Except the only thing about digging a big trench is you get paid minimum wage and you get really dirty. Executing the marketing plan, you end up with a lot of money. But it's not necessarily going to be fun. Education. Some of you know how to sell. I think probably most of you don't, just from reading the various chats when I got to the selling part. That's cool. I can straighten you out on that. I know how to sell. Okay, and I'm not talking about BS, talk loud, talk, all that stuff. I'm talking about how it really works with professional salespeople. I was trained by some of the best professional sales trainers. Back when I learned how to sell in the 1980s, I was trained by some of the best professional sales trainers on the planet. And I can teach you how to do that. And it's really not that hard to learn. How to structure a sales interview, how to close, what to charge, the whole thing. Business building, how to take those front-end sales and upsell some number of them for those big, high-end, and hopefully recurring sales. In other words, how to take those 10 sales and get that one that's going to be recurring, and probably take several of those 10 and turn those from $400 paydays to $1,000, $1,500 paydays. How to get referrals, because once you get up to those 50 sales, you don't really have to prospect anymore. That's another thing I didn't tell you all, is this whole prospecting, trench digging, it's not fun stage really doesn't last that long when you do it consistently, because you get satisfied businesses, and then you understand. I mean, I'll teach you how to go back to them and upsell them, and also get referrals for more business from them. There's a way to do that. It's not hard. It's hard to figure out how to do it, but once you know it's hard, it's easy to implement. Now, here's the deal. I talked with my own coach. I have a coach for my business. As a matter of fact, I have two coaches, but I have a coach for my business. I talked with my coach about how to structure this thing. Now, this is the way I want to do it. What I'm talking to you about is probably not a 30-day arrangement. I'm thinking it's going to take most of you longer than that. This is not a class. This is not like VIP training. In a class, you learn a thing. This is a relationship between you and me where we build your business together. And it's going to take whatever it takes. Okay, so some of you, I'm going to get you straightened out in a month. Some of you, I can get you straightened out in a month. I really can. Some of you, I get you straightened out in 2 months. Some of you are going to take 6 months. Some of you, like my relationship with one of my coaches, to whom I pay a lot of money every month. It's kind of like, I know what I'm doing, but I just need, I call him my rent-a-board of directors. I'm happy to pay him money because it's somebody that's on the outside of my business that helps me continue to grow. Now, I'm trying to keep this as low as possible because I understand that what I'm doing is I'm helping people make money. Well, that almost means that you don't have a ton of money to spend. Now, while guaranteeing you my time and energy. So for me, I mean, I have to look at it and say, well, what else could Lee do rationally with those hours? Okay, now I actually have, just so you know, before we get to the price on this thing, I explained to the price, how you pay, and all the details in that. But you can't buy it today anyway, so it doesn't matter. But here's the deal. I've lowered the price below what I think it should be. And the reason for that is because this is a new coaching program. And once I get a few of you into this program, and after a few months, I get some real testimonials of people really actually doing extremely well, i.e. making $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a month because you worked with me over a period of time and I got you to that place. I will have some awesome testimonials that hopefully you will give me. And then I can jack up the price a lot. I'll still be able to help other people build real businesses, but I'll charge them at the yin-yang for it. So I have a personal motive for doing this like this. How will this be delivered between me and you? Well, there's a structure, but it's flexible. We're going to have one group webinar every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, unless I'm out of town. I'm going to be traveling a little bit this summer, not a ton. I don't really like traveling all that much, but I'm going to be. It's going to be recorded and made available to you in the members area, okay? And you're going to have 2 hours of one-on-one phone time per month between me and you. Now, 2 hours of one-on-one phone time per month between me and you is not 2 hours of chewing the fat, hey, how you doing, and is it raining where you are, and junk, okay? It's not 2 hours worth of junk. All of the one-on-one sessions, and we're probably going to have to break these up. Bruce, it's 9:42 p.m. where I am. All of these sessions that we have of you talking to me one-on-one are going to be preceded by emails where we get it totally figured out what we're doing. I need information from you. I need to know what you did this week. I need to know what the results were. I need to know that sales presentation, how did that go, all that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth between you and me that happens in email. And then when we talk, we're going to get a massive amount of stuff done fast. Now, that's the basic structure. But please bear in mind, my goal is to help you build a business. All right, so in other words, I'm saying that, can I talk to one person 10 hours instead of 2? No, I can't. Not for the kind of money I'm going to charge you. But could I talk to you 2 hours and 15 minutes? Yes, I can. And I do have some common sense, and I want you to succeed. So let's just leave that at that. Here's the cost, $297 a month. Now, it's going to be billable on a monthly basis. So whenever you sign up, you know, like you sign up on July the 3rd, you get billed on August the 3rd or whatever, you know, there on out. It's cancelable at any time. It's non-refundable for the month. Okay? Yeah, I think that's fair for a membership site. Yeah. Scott says not bad pricing for this. Scott, I talked with my own coach a lot about this. He wanted me to do this at $497. I said, look, I know a lot of people would take me up on this for $497, but honestly, I have both an altruistic motive and I have a very, very financially motivated motive of keeping it at $297. The altruistic motive is I'll get more of you in here who may not be able to afford it. And like I said, once I get testimonials, I'll be able to jack up the price to like at least $500 to $1,000 a month, okay, for the same amount of work. So Scott, that's where I'm coming from on this. Now, where do we go from here? Because you can't buy this from me tonight. This is like the world's worst sales presentation because I got everybody so interested in all that stuff, and I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm just being totally honest with you. And this is not like Dan Kennedy takeaway selling. This is not some trick. I'm being totally honest with you here, guys. I am not necessarily going to let a specific some specific people into this program. I'll explain that. Now, if you're interested, I need you to fill out an application form. I'm going to give you a link in just a second. The application form will be on the link, plus the downloads from this webinar will be on that same link. So it's all in one place. But if you're interested in this, I need you to download the application form. It's just a text file. I need you to just write down all the answers to it as best you can, and I'm going to read that. You're going to give me your phone number, and you and I are going to talk for 30 minutes and have a 30-minute interview. You can ask me anything you want. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to know where your head is. I want to know a bunch of stuff. I want to know what country you live in, because there are time zone issues going on here. I've learned that. Okay. I want to know how many hours per week you have available. I want to know how much cash realistically, okay, per month you have available. And I'm not telling you what to do financially. Actually, I'm going to anyway. I would love it if that was cash instead of credit card cash. But anyway, because I kind of have an anti-credit card thing. That's kind of an aside, but I want to know those details. I am here to help you. I don't care, when I say I'm not necessarily going to let you into the program, please do not think, oh my God, Lee's not going to let me into the program, or Lee hates me, or anything like this. This is not aimed at you. I'm saying that I need people who are serious, and I know you guys are. I understand that. I can just tell that from the way the chat went during the webinar. I need people who are serious. I need people who have some time. I need people, you need some time. You actually don't need that much cash. You probably don't need any cash, actually. You do need time. I need people who are willing to learn and grow. That's what I need. I need people who will just take me up on what I say and go out and do it. Because I have learned in some informal coaching that I have done for about a year, if people will actually do what I tell them to, they will actually start to have good results. Now, what this means is, let's take this like, part of what we're going to build is a follow-up sequence in your sales process. In that follow-up sequence, you are going to be dialing the phone and talking to businesses. Well, some people I just know from webinars are kind of phone phobic. Okay, well, we're going to have to grow up and get over that. All right, and I can tell you how to grow up and get over that, by the way. I mean, and be nice to you all at the same time. I mean, seriously, I can tell you how to do that. It's a matter of role playing and practicing. But I need people who are willing to get out of their comfort zone. Because you know what? Dave Ramsey, do you guys know who Dave Ramsey is, the money guru? Yeah. Dave Ramsey talks about people who are in debt. I used to be in debt, a lot of debt. I am now no longer in debt. I am debt-free. I've been debt-free for some time. Okay? But Dave Ramsey talks about people who are in debt. And he says they're like babies sitting in a really dirty diaper. And they sit there and they don't want you to change the diaper. And anybody who's ever had children probably had that experience of a kid who's in a massively dirty diaper, but by God, when you want to change it. And Dave, it's so funny when Dave says this. He says, in their heads, they're thinking, it's warm and it's mine. Well, some of you are in a dirty diaper. Seriously, I'm saying this with love because I used to be in a dirty diaper. Probably more than one. I'm saying this with love. Don't think I'm trying to hurt you. I'm not. But I'm just trying to real talk. Some of you are in a dirty diaper. And you don't get the diaper changed. You don't do anything about the diaper. Why? Because it's familiar. It's a security blanket. Okay? So I want you to get out of that because believe me, sitting around in a dirty diaper is not fun. Sitting around broke is not fun. Sitting around frustrated because you know in your heart, now look, I am also a Christian and I'm not trying to lay that on anybody, but every now and then I do talk about God. It's just the way my brain works. Sitting around in your heart knowing that God put something in your heart, but yet you can't figure out how to express that into the world is massively frustrating. So, but to start expressing that, like I said, it requires personal growth. So I need, when I talk to you, I need to understand that, yes, here's somebody who says, yeah, Lee, tell me what to do. I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to do it. I'm scared. I remember when I first learned how to cold call, I was so scared I was almost shaking because I am really not a people person. I grew out of that. I grew out of that. You bet, Bruce. But I also figured out how to role play my way out of all of that. You bet. But my point is, you can overcome all of these things. I mean, I'm not asking you to learn to pick up 500 pounds off the floor or something like that. Everybody on here can do this. But I want people who are willing to go with me. Okay? I'm not going to take you anywhere except more money. But I want people who are willing to go with me and who will do and who will work back and forth. Like I said, it's not a system. This is not a system. This is not, Lee, give me the stupid recipe and let me make the brownies. It doesn't work that way. This is a growth thing. This is a let me figure out where you've got a lack thing, then let's figure out how to solve that. Is it more education? Is it a different tweaking of what you're doing? Is it this or that? That's what this is. And so that's why I need the application and I need the phone call before I get your money. Okay? I mean, if I was just interested in your money, I'd just hit you up for your money right now. And a bunch of you would pay me, frankly. So let's see what else I got on this. If I got another slide from here. Yeah, here we go. This is where you go to get the application. Brad, the slides for the presentation are here also. You don't need the HTTP part. If you will just type in bit.ly/offline application into your browser, that will take you to the page with where you can download the application, and the application has my email address on it. It's got instructions. Just follow the instructions. You get it back to me, and then I'll read it and I'll call you. You're going to give me your phone number in the application. Okay, I'll call you. You can also download a sample marketing plan from there. I kind of took what we did about a marketing plan and sort of put it in a little more readable format for you. Kathy's hearing my antique desk make noise, yeah. So that's there, and also the, like I said, the slides are there. So we are now Q&A. Let me know what you don't know. Dan says, can this be done? This is a great question, Dan. Can this be done off normal business hours? Have 9 to 5, not much daytime available. This would have to be part-time at first. Absolutely. Dan, what we would do, we would focus on something like direct mail. Okay? Something that takes a little cash. Direct mail really doesn't take that much cash, frankly, but something that takes a little, when you don't have time, you can substitute cash, and direct mail is the way to do that. So, I would be right off the bat, I'm thinking I would be talking to you about things like your lunch break, when, if someone were interested, when you would call them. But look, one of my first people that I ever helped to figure this business out, and he's done remarkably well. I'm not going to name a name because I don't want to name drop, but some of you, the PDF link is not working. Go right here. You should go here. But this was a particular person who's gotten pretty big in the industry now. And he worked at a Department of Defense site where he couldn't even have a cell phone inside the building. So, we worked with him to help him figure out how to do this, and he did really, really well. So we can definitely do that. Download here. These are all zip files. Okay. Looks like we may have a little issue with this one. Yeah, I'm just looking at the link down here. Looks like I got a little issue with how this worked out. I'll fix this when the webinar is over. Okay, so that just go back, just give me a little while and I'll fix that when the webinar's over. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know how that happened. I saw a bunch of, so Jordan, thank you on that. I'll fix that when the webinar is over. A bunch of people told me about that. Yeah, 7-step follow-up sequence. Yeah, or Irvin, that's actually not that hard. So you have an initial contact. And let's say that's direct mail. And then you have call. Did you get the letter I sent you? And then you have handwritten note, because nobody sends stuff snail mail anymore. And then you have interesting article. Remember I told you needed stuff about what you're selling? That's where that comes in. And then you have, did you get the article? That's a call. And then you have, by that time you're developing a relationship, right? So then you have, here's an answer to your question. This gets more personal and more focused on that one business as we go along. And you can kind of, so basically it's like music. You send them something, you call them back, see if they got it. You send them something, call them back, see if they got it. You send them something, call them back, see if they got it. Every time you call them, you ask them this question. Okay, here's the trial close question. Are you ready to get going on this today? You teach yourself to ask that question. Yeah, Todd, 5 to 7. You can add another 1 or 2. That's a follow-up sequence. Now, if this is something that's preventing you from doing well in your business, if you want to do the coaching with me, we will work on fleshing this out, okay? But I've given you the bare bones of a follow-up sequence, but they all work pretty much the same way. More questions, guys. Let me know what else I need to answer, et cetera, et cetera. Jeff, I don't quite understand. Nothing is showing Lee. I'm not understanding that. I mean, I'm saying if you need me to do something, let me know. More questions. Pop them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to power this baby down and go look at TV. I think we're good. Cool beans. Dan, absolutely. I mean, that's the deal, Dan, is finding clients. Like I said, yes, Warren, there is definitely replay. Dan, that's the deal. I mean, that's the engine. Remember I said the Bentley without the engine, it's a beautiful car. It ain't going anywhere. That's the thing, how to find clients. Targeting the right businesses, the initial contact, the follow-up sequence, the sales presentation, the close, fulfillment. They all work the same way. Max, let me put that in. I'll put that in both the chat, bit.ly. Actually, I think I've got it here. The thing is, guys, this stuff is not that hard. It's just work. But it's kind of like if you ever saw the space shuttle or something lift off, massive amount of blood and blah, blah, blah and stuff off, happening, and it doesn't go but about a foot. But, give it like a few minutes and it's moving at several thousand miles an hour about to enter space. Gene, free offers. Gene wants to know about the idea of front-ending stuff with free offers. Gene, I never really tried that a lot. I'm not necessarily against it. I've had other people try it and it didn't work that well. I don't have generally a very good opinion of free offers up front. If it's something free like sending somebody a PLR report about mobile websites, if that's what you're thinking of as a free offer, that's cool. Just send a bunch of businesses like your direct mail letter with a PLR PLR report, and then you call them back and see if they got it, right? And then you do the follow-up sequence. That works. But in terms of making little free websites for people and stuff like that, I don't really think that works that well. So I have kind of a negative opinion of that. I could be wrong, Jimmy. I mean, there are a bunch of ways to skin a cat, but that's not one of the ones that I do. Mention having someone look over your business process from the outside. Yeah, Anthony's, this is really important. Anthony says, hey, Lee, you might mention that having someone look at your business process from the outside can give you the most valuable insights into what's really happening, what's working. Yes, absolutely. That's actually the reason that I continue to pay my own coach, one of my own coaches. And again, I call him my renter board of directors for that very reason. That very reason is for that. Neil, Neil, I might start. Neil's got a great question. Do you use webinars with businesses? Not so much. I have set up a webinar just to show somebody something. So I'm thinking there are two possible questions you're asking. One, do I ever get on GoToWebinar with a particular potential client and show them stuff? Yes. Do I get a bunch of potential clients on a webinar and do a webinar pitch to them? No. Although I think it's probably a valid business model, okay, but I don't do that. The reason I don't do that is because, Neil, I know more ways to make money than I can get around to. I've got the opposite problem from what the problems a lot of people have. In other words, I don't do it because I don't need to do it. But I think it's a valid way of doing that, but it's not something that I personally do. Yeah, Gene says, Gene's talking about the free thing, a free membership. I'm not sure what you'd have membership in. A free newsletter, I like the free newsletter. Web audit. I use web audits. I call it an online audit or an offline audit, either way. I use those to upsell stuff. And I'll be happy to, if you want to do the coaching with me, I'll be happy to teach you all how to do that. It works like gangbusters. So for me personally, an audit wouldn't work in the beginning because I use that as step 2 in order to move from a $400 sale to a $1,500 sale. Yeah, I'm not against the freebies, Kathy. I'm just saying I don't particularly do that. She's saying that offering 2 or 3 freebies is a good way to obtain a testimonial and referrals to get a new business started. Sure. I mean, if that works for you guys, go for it. Absolutely. Jay says, how would you educate potential clients with article PLR via Quick Start Consultancy? Potential clients. Jay, I would need to actually sit down and talk to you about that. And I'm not trying to pick apart your question. It's an excellent question. This goes back in, okay, right off the top of my head, when I read that, I thought to myself, I really would rather not educate anybody if I can help it. Now, you can't help it, but if I can help it, I'd rather not educate anybody. I would rather get my targeting of the right businesses better so that I was preaching to the choir more. And then, Max, I get you a second. That's a great question. If I'm preaching to the choir more, then the businesses or decision makers that I'm talking to are more predisposed to hear what I'm saying. And then the education is more of implementation. It's not education in terms of, hey, you didn't know you need a mobile website, and here's why you need one. It's more, yeah, hang on, Jay. It's more kind of like, well, you do know you need a mobile website, and let me tell you a little bit more about how this thing works, and we'll get one set up for you within about 4 days. Yeah, I really, if I can help it as a salesperson, don't want to educate. I want to take that out of the equation at the beginning. And if you go back in the slides when I talked about targeting the right businesses, that's where you take that out. Max said, I miss this, but how often do we get together a month? Max, that's flexible. I'm looking at about 2 hours per person per month. And again, that's not carved in stone. That's kind of like saying I'm looking at 2 but not 10. I'm not really looking at 8 either. 2 will do it. Okay, I spend maybe 30 minutes on the phone with my mentor who costs me a lot more money than this. But that 30 minutes is preceded by a lot of emailing back and forth, knowing exactly what we're talking about, presenting my mentor a problem or something I want him to think about, and then he's already thought about it, got the solution, got the thing that I need to hear, and we get together and he says, Lee, well, I like that and I like that, but that's a pretty dumb idea. I would do this like that, I would do that, I'm good to go, that kind of thing. Pete says, I've done a mobile website for a single property for sale with links to show all the other properties for one branch and a link to the front page. They would do the same for 22 branches. Total equals possibly 2,600 properties for one business brand. How do I get an appointment to present it? Pete, it sounds like that you did this and you don't know that you have a client. If you did this and you don't know that you had a client, I think, and look, I mean, I'm just kind of shooting at the dark here because you've asked a very complex question. I think that in the future I would probably just do a little bit of work in order to, again, this kind of gets back to where I was saying you need to be able to show what you're selling. You need to be able, like, you know, if you're doing video ranking or if you're doing a mobile website or something like that, you need to have an example, but that's about it. Then when you get somebody interested, you can kind of do a mock-up or something like that and move them toward that. But I would never do a lot of work for somebody without having money in hand. Jay, web audit, I do that as a way of upselling. Most people who do upsell after the first sale is complete. I generally, and I'll be happy to teach all how to do both of these, both ways, if you want to do the coaching, but I generally do the upsell at the time of the first sale. But what I do is I basically take all the things I sell, so I'd need to know what you're capable of selling, Jay. I take all the things I sell. It takes all of 5 or 10 minutes to, like, you know, go to YouTube, type in the business's name. Do they have a YouTube channel? Do they have any videos? Are those videos optimized for anything? Are they ranking for anything? Is their website showing up anywhere? Are they doing any of this other stuff? Are they on Facebook? Do they have a Facebook page? Are they totally screwed up and they just got their personal profile instead of the Facebook page? All that stuff. All the stuff that I'm capable of selling or that I want to sell them, I do a quick audit, I write it down, I turn it into a PDF, and I send it to them. And I say, while I was online, I took a few minutes to take a look at some other issues your business has, and I'm happy to talk to you about this. We don't have to talk about it. I just thought, since we were doing the mobile website, I'd go ahead and provide you with this information. And then when I talk to them about closing them on the mobile website or whatever it is, then I take that PDF. If it's in person, we sit down with PDF in person. If it's like, on the phone, they pull it up on their computer, and I just go over these things real fast. I say, hey, would you have a second to open up that PDF and take a look at it? I want to tell you a couple of little things I want to make sure that you understand for your business. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, just trying to help you out. And I can usually means about half the time turn those front-end sales into about $1,000, $1,500 that way. So that's how I do that. Irvin, I do not sell a lot of SMS. But Irvin, let me tell you something. That's a great question, Max. I'll get to that in a second. All of this stuff sells the same way. Get your head out of the technical, the particular. Get your head out of that. I'm trying to turn you from remember what I was talking about when I was talking about I can hire somebody in the Philippines for $7,000 a year to do all this stuff? So that means that that's what all this stuff is worth. But Lee Cole makes a lot more than that in a month. So if that's true, then why is that? Because I'm a salesperson. So I'm trying to get your head out of that stuff. There are no particulars for doing things. Okay, there is a pattern that will sell all of this stuff in exactly the same way. There are a few patterns that will sell all of this stuff in exactly the same way. There's no magic bullet. There's no key that unlocks the kingdom, except when you learn how to sell. That's the key. Max says, who should not fill out this application? Somebody that doesn't want to work and somebody that's going to get a little scared when I ask you to move out of your comfort zone. Just, saying it with love, okay? Let me read your question, Harry. Of course, if I decided I wanted to go to a certain niche. Harry, you're getting into implementation, okay? Harry, I think you're talking about SEO, and I'm kind of sort of think I'm understanding this. I'm super careful about making assumptions about things, but Harry, I will help you with implementation as much as I can. This is not, Harry, look, hand on a stack of Bibles. Your problem is not implementation. If I can hire somebody in the Philippines for $7,000 a year and they can implement, your problem is not implementation. There was a really great WSO from Alex Becker that sold about SEO. I forgot how much it was, $17, $27, something like that. And then you get like a membership into his membership thing, and that's like, I think you got a deal, but it's normally $47 a month. That guy is like the SEO ninja of the planet, right? Okay? Harry, if SEO information goes for $47 a month, that can't be the place that makes you $100,000 a year. Because if I can pay somebody to go over there and learn all that stuff, and they probably already know it anyway, and I can pay them $7,000 a year to do that and to implement that stuff for me, but I'm making 150 grand. The deal is not the information. The deal is the fact that I know how to go out and do business. That's what you guys need to go ahead. That's what you guys need. You guys need to know how to go out and get business. John, the pattern for selling, you're talking about the sales presentation? Yeah. Either sit down or on the phone. This is going to seem so simple it's going to be, but Lee, it wasn't anything. Yeah, it really is a lot. There's massive psychology that goes into this. Either sitting down here on the phone. Before we get started, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? How long have you been in business? I don't care. That's a safe question to get your mouth moving and making noise. What are you doing to market your business now? How's that working? What are you doing online to market your business now? How's that working? Now from this, okay, from this you're going to understand what they want and why they want it. Now this is the tip of the iceberg, but from this you're going to understand what they want and why they want it. So then you take what you're selling and gift wrap it as the solution to the pain that you uncovered. And then you ask them, are you ready to solve that problem? Fix that pain today. Close. That's it. Now, look, yes, again, simple, easy, incredible amount of psychology is sitting right there. And it may be hard to see. But that's it. That's what that's the it and all about it. That's how it goes down. I was taught that by a business partner of a guy named Jerry Vass, V-A-S-S. You can look him up. He's one of the foremost sales trainers on the planet. Neil, that was Alex Becker, SEO Ninja. Cover outsourcing and how to find and set up outsourcing. Dan, I can help you out with that. Again, look, I mean, if we were having a phone call, I would ask you, do you know how to sell stuff? Because if you know how to sell stuff, then that's cool. That's what you need. And outsourcing, you can kind of sort of figure out. It's really not that hard. It's a matter of writing down exactly what you want the person to do when you do it. And when they don't do it, you fire them. That's basically what it's about. Having hired and fired tons of folks, that's the way it works. The coaching is not about outsourcing. The coaching is not about details, guys. The coaching is not about $7,000 a year stuff. The coaching is about $100,000 a year stuff, which is how to sell. Kathy, I just read that. Tim, what's the best way to deal with credibility issues when starting out? Tim, pick a front-end product that you believe in, that you have an example of. That was one reason that I want you to have something that you could point to. And then just go. Just go, man. Quit worrying about it. You know, you're new, okay? Guess what? We were all new at one time. I was actually a baby at one time. Go figure. You know, just quit worrying about it. It's not going to come up in the way that you think it's going to come up. And just don't talk about yourself. Just if you're selling a mobile website, talk about a mobile website. If they don't like you, that's their problem. You're probably a very nice guy. They don't get to have you build their mobile website. To heck with them. Go sell it to somebody else. Kathy's saying Becker's Infinitum Group. Yeah. The SEO is extremely easy to learn and implement. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Kathy. I mean, and yes, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And she's saying this, Becker makes 100K at it, not because he can rank sites, because you and I both know people who can rank sites who are broke. At least I do. And, but because he's a master salesperson who can convince people his services are worth it. Well, because he can sell it. it's the sales skill that makes the 100K. Because if I can take a method, information, and I can pay somebody $7,000 here in the Philippines, that means on the free market it's worth $7,000. That's what that means. Awesome. So guys, thank you, Scott. I'm looking forward to reading that, and I will, I'll read it. I'm going to call everybody who makes an application. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Okay. Fill out the application if you want to. Okay, you don't have to. This is really not a sale. This is more of just I'm here to help. Fill out the application. I'm going to call. We're going to have a talk. I said 30 minutes. If it takes 45, I mean, I'm not worried about that. I want you and me to have a good sit-down talk, and we're going to figure out if I can help you. If I think I can help you, I'm going to tell you I think I can help you. If you want to go from there to me helping you, we'll do it. If you don't want to, if I don't think I can, I'm going to tell you I can't. For whatever reason, like you may not need my help. I might say, hey man, you're doing pretty good. I think you just need to be doing more of what you're doing. You're welcome to hire me to sort of like be your rental board of directors, kind of like I do. But if you don't want to spend that money to do that, just keep doing what you're doing, because actually this is doing what it's supposed to. And if you're where you're supposed to be, I'm going to tell you where you're supposed to be, and don't waste your money. Okay, not that it'd be a waste, but I'm just saying I'll be totally honest with you. Okay. Any more questions before we hang it up? You're a fabulous group. I love being on. I love being on webinars with you guys. Jay says, "Can I send you leads?" You mean for this, for coaching? I hadn't even thought about that. Thank you, Harry. You bet, Dan. Thank you, Anthony. Awesome. Not sure I've been called a wise uncle before. I've been called a smart, you know what, before, but not a wise uncle. I love that. Thank you, Kathy. Can social mobile platform create the mock-up sites in the new product? No, that's actually, that new product, the one that, the new product that launched today, that's actually white labeling Dudamobile. So, no. Dan, I am here on Facebook. I'm putting it in the chat. Lee Cole Online. That will get to me. You might want to message me and let me know that you're trying to friend me, because for some reason, you know, it happens to everybody. I get friended by all kinds of people, and I don't know them, and I'm guessing, you know, I mean, they're like weird girls and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's just a weird world we live in. So just, you know, let me know. So, hey, Lee, I'm friending you. Dan, this was Dan from the webinar. I'm friending you. And that'll be good. I'll probably remember you. I'm just saying, you know, let me know. Jay, no, you can't do that. The reason is, Jay, I'm in the opposite. Jay's saying, can he refer offline clients to me? No, you can't. I would love, you know, that kind of came out wrong. In my own personal business, what I'm doing is I'm actually firing clients and ending up with a few very high-paying clients. That's the way I like to do it. So I actually don't need more. I need fewer. You bet, Carol. The XML file is not working. Right, James, I need to fix that. It's got the wrong, something screwed up on the link when I did that in WordPress. And as soon as we get off the webinar, I'm going to go there and fix that for you. Okay, so just give me about 10 minutes after the webinar. Cool beans, guys. We've been on here a while. Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate you. And just let me know how I can help you. Okay? Y'all have a great evening.